Y'all, we're going to try to get the harvest in before the heat gets here today. Good morning and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. We have a very warm day, the hottest day of the year ahead of us, and I need to get the vegetables harvested before the heat gets here today. I said I need to get the vegetables harvested before the heat gets here today, y'all, but I'm too late. It's already very warm. It's already almost 80 degrees, but the humidity is the issue. I mean, when the wind blows, it just takes your breath away because it's just so hot. But anyway, today we are going to harvest those few things that I didn't get harvested during the week, and I'm going to try to get it done as fast as possible. It's just a little after 7 in the morning, and even though it's that early, y'all, it's hot. So I am picking turnip greens from my 7-leaf turnip greens. I'll put a pack up here for you. We've started canning already this season. The harvest is really starting to come in, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm harvesting more than once a week, especially with my beans. So I'm going to try to bring you with me for all of the harvest if I can. And if I can't, I'll always come back and tell you about it. My goal is to get this harvest done before my family gets up, starts moving around, and then I'm going to go in and make some homemade waffles. When it's the weekend, that's when I like to pamper my family a little bit more. And that's when I like to cook the breakfast and all that kind of stuff. During the week, there's just no time. We're going in too many different directions. These turnip greens have been harvested now, I've lost track, 3 or 4 times. And this is either the 4th or 5th harvest. They're not going to seed. I have this elevated raised bed on my patio. And so it does get sun about middle of the day just because of where it sits. And so these greens have been holding on. I mean, they are not going to seed or anything. So really happy with the turnip greens. And I'm getting to put some away for later, which normally I don't get to do with my turnip greens. I used the square foot garden method for these turnip greens. So I have 2 square feet and that's all. I have 2 1-foot squares. That's what I should call it. And every time I come out, it takes probably 2 squares to get a meal for my family. But I have others in other places as well. But just looking at how many are over here, takes about 2 squares. And these will probably be put up as well. And I found out that people do want to know my canning recipe for greens. And so I will try my best to video that clip for you as well. In years past, I've always just froze them, blanched and froze them, but I need to save my freezer space, y'all. And there's no reason for me to put greens in the freezer when I can just can them up when I have plenty of cans for canning. And honestly, they last longer. In my mind, you got the refrigerator, and then the next step to try to store your stuff is the freezer. Not much more than that because you'll get freezer burn and all that kind of stuff in the freezer. So the freezer's at most a good year, but if I can them, I can get 2 or 3 years or more on them. As long as the canning holds its seal, it's good to go. So we will be canning these. I think that's good enough. I've picked it pretty clean. And you can probably see that I've pulled out my spinach. So this square here is empty. So we need to try to put something else back in this square to keep the harvest going. These are lettuce. These are Merlot lettuce plants. I got carrots here, empty, just a few weeds. I've already harvested 1 cabbage from back here. You probably can't see it because this cabbage is in front of it, but this one's empty as well. So I'm just going to take you over here so you can see the whole bed. So So lettuce, carrots, nothing here. I just harvest the greens in those two. Cabbage, nothing there because I harvest that one. These are supposed to be onion, and y'all, they didn't make it. I think I crowded them out too much with some other plants, but we still are going to harvest these. And for some reason, I feel like these are eclipsed and not what I thought I was putting in here, but I'm going to harvest them. We are going to freeze them and use them in dishes. So it's not a loss, they're just small. And then coming over to this side over here, I have cauliflower, and this is supposed to be cauliflower too, but over here in the front, but it hasn't started heading up, if it heads up at all. So this is what I got from a turnip green standpoint. And I'm going to add a few more from this GreenStalk that's right here behind me. So in this leaf planter here, I have five. I have 5 leaf tiers in here. These are collard greens. I'm not harvesting them today. I'm only harvesting the turnip greens. The bugs were trying to win on this one, and guess what, y'all? They lost because I got rid of all of those worms yesterday. So we don't have to worry about the worm infestation anymore. They're long gone. I've double checked the plants since then. Haven't seen another worm on them. And no, I didn't do it organically. I used 7. I put the 7 on there. And I know there are organic options, but I use 7 when I start seeing a real bad issue. When I use 7 though, I'll just be honest with you, once you spray that on here, you're no longer going to be considered organic because you've put something that's non-organic on your food. But guess what? I don't care. I'm going to eat first. And then we'll worry about it being organic second. So I do like it to be organic, but at the end of the day, I need to grow my food so I don't have to go to the grocery store. Since I sprayed it with that spray, I don't like to harvest anything for at least 24 hours. After 24 hours, then I will harvest, and then I will soak my greens really, really well. I'll soak them for like 30 minutes in just cold water to make sure that I'm getting as much of that stuff off as possible. So I wait about 24 hours. I soak them for about 30 minutes before I even start the washing process. So that's 30 minutes plus the traditional washing process of my greens. So we are going to have a nice turnip harvest, collard harvest coming soon as well. Just not today. I don't really have enough to make a meal out of, even though these are some really nice leaves down here. It's not enough for a meal, so I am not picking them today. With the swing in the weather, it's also important to remember proper watering of all of your plants this time of year, especially when you go from the rainy season to, 100-degree temperatures. So keep that in mind so we don't lose all of these plants and things that we've worked so hard to grow and protect and enjoy. When it's super hot the way it is here today, I almost watered this morning and I changed my mind because I watered last night and it's so humid and everything is so wet already. I didn't need to water this morning after I checked. But if I had checked and the ground was still super dry, even though I watered last night, I would have went ahead and watered this morning. But then I will water tonight. And so I know my plants are going to look a little weepy during the middle of the day when you got 100-degree or feel like 100-degree temperatures. I think the real temperature is 95 today, I think is what it's supposed to be. So I'll put what that is in Celsius up there too. But that's what the real temperature is supposed to be, but it's going to feel like over 100 degrees. I'm not a scientist, but I do like science and that kind of stuff. But if you think about it, when it's super hot outside and you think about your body and it's a nice cool breeze blowing, and let's say you're sweating, that cool breeze will evaporate that sweat off of your body. But when it's super humid, because the water, the moisture is going to go for the least resistance. So when it's super humid, the water is not going to come off your body. That's why we always talk about heat stress, heat stroke, and all of those heat illnesses when we're in the high temperatures, and especially when there's high humidity. It's no different for your plants. When the air is super dry and you water your plants, or whether you water them or not, when the air is super dry, that moisture is going to leave your plants and go into the air. And so you have to water. When it's super humid, you still need to water, but you might not have to water as often because it may not be evaporating out the pocket as fast just because there's so much water already in the air. If that makes sense to anybody. Hopefully it does. If not, don't worry about it. Just water when you see your plants need to be watered. I think that's it off of this planter. Now we're going to go to the largest supply of turnip greens that I have in the main garden area. So we're on our way over, but I got the peaches protected right now. Nobody's coming in to get these peaches. I got it all zip tied, covered up. And if somebody wants one of these peaches, they're gonna have to crawl on the ground. They're gonna have to stick their arm through one of these teeny little holes, and then they're gonna have to work at it for about an hour to get in there to one of those peaches. But I think I'm 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks out from a beautiful peach harvest. So this is where I have my largest turnip area. And I also have a lot of stuff over here going to seed. Good morning. So let's get this out of the way so we can get to our turnips. A week, 2 weeks ago, whenever I harvest turnips last, I actually pulled some up to give to Grandpa, and I thought I needed to pull them all up, and then I looked and realized, oh no, these turnips had more life in them, which is great because I want the greens. And so I left most of them in here, and these turnips are sizing up nicely. Looking at the turnips, I believe I'm going to be able to harvest them at least one more time before I pull the rest of these turnips up. That's more greens for the house. I also fertilized really well yesterday, the entire garden. But I needed to make sure that I didn't burn those plants because of how hot it was going to be today. One of the things I try not to do is put anything, no chemicals, organic or not. And organic is still a chemical, just so everybody knows. When we're talking chemicals from a science standpoint, whether it's organic or not, it's still some type of chemical. Water is a chemical. It has chemical bonds. So I did all of that yesterday. We got done before 11 o'clock, y'all, and we were out here rushing around trying to get it done because that heat was on us. But then the sun went down and there was this beautiful cool breeze. Oh, it was such a beautiful evening, like crystal blue, clear skies. And it seems like forever since we've seen a blue sky around here because it's just been raining so much. Beautiful evening. Walk through the garden every evening. Ooh, didn't mean to pull that up. Yeah, every evening I walk through and just check things out and see how things are doing before I call it a night, right? It's the things you like to do to calm the mind before you try to go to bed. I was joking with Mom and I was telling her, I said, well, I left the water on for 3 hours the other day because I forgot, but we've gotten so much rain that just offset me not watering so much because of the amount of rain we've been getting. So I didn't feel so bad about it. And y'all, when I got up the next morning, I thought there was going to be standing water everywhere after I did that late at night last week. And it wasn't. I think the garden needed that deep watering that day. So I don't feel like it was a loss. I still can't wait to see my water bill because I know the water bill is going to be crazy since I did that, but maybe not since I haven't been watering daily like I normally do, but we'll see. And I decided to not go with a timer. I have several companies reaching out to me about doing a review on their timers for irrigation. Y'all, just because somebody wants me to do a review on their product. If it's not something I would use, I'm not going to do a review on it just to get the product. So I've had companies ask me to do reviews on timers for drip irrigation, and I've turned all of them down because I know I'm not going to use it. I know I'm not. So instead, I'm using my Alexa boxes in the house. And so when I turn the timer on outside, I go to the Alexa boxes and I put multiple reminders on there. And that has worked great. Because if I forget, mom can hear the timer, I can hear the timer, we all can hear the timer. So somebody can come outside and take care of what needs to be taken care of. When these turnips come out, we will be growing muskmelon on the back side here. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I want the turnip greens more than I do the muskmelon because these turnip greens will take me through the winter. But hopefully, I can go ahead and put some seeds on the back side here so that they can start germinating and growing up. I had one seed that's coming up right here. I thought I had put some more in here, but I sure don't see them. And I pick pretty heavy when I pick. So I don't want to have to come out here every couple of days and pick. Okay. I got the greens picked. You can actually see the carrots that I got in the front of the bed here. They didn't come up very well either, but hey, they are there. I got carrots in a lot of different places though, so we will be fine. All right, y'all, I think that's it for our turnips. Ooh, that's kind of heavy. When I go to can these, I will probably get 2 or 3 quarts maybe, because turnip greens really cook down. And since I'm canning them, I'm going to pressure can them. And so I'm going to blanch them, get them in the jar, and then they will actually cook while they're being pressure canned. So I might get 2 quarts or either 3. I have some 1.5 jars, and I might get 3 1.5 jars, but we'll see. You'll be with me when I go to do that. Now let's head over and pick all of those beans. And y'all, I just harvested beans 3 days ago. Was it 3 days ago? Yeah, it was 3 days ago I harvested beans. And we're going to harvest beans again today. And we're going to pick some new varieties of beans. While I'm out here, I'm going to go ahead and take care of all of these broccoli that went to seed. But there's still a couple good spots on here. So we will harvest the 2 or 3 pieces of good broccoli. We can add that to some broccoli we already have in the house. And you can eat the flowers of broccoli. I just don't. I hear you can eat the leaves as well, and I don't eat those either, but I hear you can. And see, I still have some really good side shoots down below. So hopefully, now this one doesn't look quite as bad. Hopefully we'll get more side shoots, especially when I get these potatoes right here off of my broccoli. But we're going to take these in. I'm going to go to the back side and get a few more. Oh yeah, there's a couple good ones back here. So my box of potatoes is not in a great spot, and I don't have anything to support them, and they're leaning all on my broccoli. So again, I like to support my potato plants. I didn't support this box, and I'm now paying for it because it's laying on top of my broccoli. Take these, and we'll take all of these. So there's a few. I think that's it for the broccoli. Got some cabbage over here. Oh, that's a nice head of cabbage. There's my couple pieces of broccoli right there. We're going to eat it though. So this is my Roma 2 beans. They are a wide flat bean. Here's one of those beans right there. I don't like wide flat beans, but the friend of the family we call Grandpa loves them. So these beans are for him, and I'm going to try to keep them separate from the rest of the beans so that I can make sure he gets these beans this week. They have a good taste. I just don't like wide flat beans. They've grown very well for me last year, so this is the second year that I'm growing them. And when everything else stopped producing, these kept producing. If you like the taste of a dragon tongue green bean or bush bean, because they turn green when you cook them, but they're not green when they're growing, then you will love these. And I'm gonna be right back out here picking again in a couple more days, because these things are loaded, loaded, loaded. It's almost like I got a self-watering metal raised bed, because when we get too much rain, it seems to puddle in this back area back here. These are 17-inch deep metal raised beds. So it's almost like they are self-watering, because there's plenty of water below that they can pull from if they need it. Oh, goodness. The rain, the rain, the rain. So there's Grandpa's. There's going to be so many more. This is just the first picking. Some of the other ones I could have picked, but if I wait 3 more days, they're going to all be like this, and there'll be an even larger harvest in a couple of days. So this is it for today for Grandpa, but I have tons of Landreth and Provider bush beans over there that I harvested 3 days ago, and we're getting ready to harvest some more right now. Y'all, I don't have the best lighting right here, but I have Provider bush beans here and Landreth bush beans here. And the lighting is so bad because it's so early in the morning. The sun is on the wrong side, y'all. So with the sun being over there, it's really messing up with my exposure. So I went ahead and picked the beans in this space here. Let's move you to a better place so you can see the beans that I've harvested. Let me start by just showing you what I'm working with. So on this back side right here, climbing, are pole beans. And they're just now starting to bloom, and they're just now starting to come in, and they're climbing up. I see some little bitty beans on there. They will come in after my bush beans. On this side, I have rattlesnake beans, which I've never grown before. I've had the seeds for a few years, but I never grew them. They are also pole beans, and they climb. They have this beautiful pink flower on them, and there are a few beans on there as well. So I'll have them growing up on this other side. But behind those beans, on this back side of this bed here, are all of the bush beans. And they're just nestled in this little area here. Using the square foot garden method, I planted those, and they are super thickly planted, and we'll be harvesting off of that for many weeks to come, hopefully. But when they die out, then we'll move over into the pole beans and to these beans in this space right here. So this is 2 different types of green beans. They're bush beans. This is like a dwarf, very petite bean, and then I don't remember what that one is at the moment, but these should come in after those that I have in that bed back there. So we're gonna have, hopefully, plenty of beans this year. All right, so before I call it completely good, let's take a look at our yellow wax beans and see if I can harvest anything over there as well. Well, I really wasn't expecting this, y'all, but these are ready. I mean, not all of them, but there are a few of these that are ready. And these are 5 different varieties of wax beans. They're all mixed together, so I can't tell you what's what. These are yellow wax beans. But this is what they look like right here. That one still got a little green on it, but kind of gives you an idea. They are super tasty. They stay more firm than your green beans do when you cook them, so you don't accidentally cook them too long and they get mushy. Very nice taste. They hold the color when they cook as well. Yellow wax beans. And I never had them until I started growing them myself. They're quite delicious. And I don't think I'm picking that many, but there are a few that are definitely ready, and I don't want them to get too big. This GreenStalk sits just on the outside of my garden, and y'all, I think this is the perfect place. I haven't had any animals damage it any way, shape, or form. The squirrels don't come over here and bother it either. So I have no issues over here. I've never put one over here before with green beans in it anyway, or beans, I should say. They're not green. And this is the first time that I've ever grown a full GreenStalk vertical planter with nothing but wax beans. So we are definitely going to divide those up in our measurements from a harvest standpoint. in our weights. So as we're talking about weights, I'll make sure I call those out separately. Some of these are perfect. I did go ahead and get my trellising on here. I didn't bring you with me. It was hot, y'all. I was trying to get stuff done. But I installed this GreenStalk trellising on this planter, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago to kind of help hold these plants up. And I've always done this. I wasn't sure which method I was going to use this year, but I decided to go with the method I've always used. I know it works. And I can pick you the shade. That's always a plus. The bad thing about putting this planter over here is that when I need to water, I have to bring my watering materials, whether it's a hose or the bucket or whatever, to the outside of the garden in this space, which I normally don't have to. I have to remind myself, oh, don't forget, you got to go to the front side of the garden. And the little young kids in the neighborhood, they don't eat this kind of vegetable. That requires them to eat their vegetables, so they don't bother this one. At least I haven't had them bother it yet. Let's say that. I don't want to speak too soon and then all of a sudden they're over here messing with my plants. It's probably about, what, 8 o'clock now? And I've already like sweated through because it's just that hot. This is not healthy weather for anybody to be in. Ooh, this big flushing up here, but not quite ready. And I really wasn't expecting to pick any from over here anyway. There's really, really nice ones. Look at that. If I can find the pictures of the 5 different types of yellow wax beans, I will put those up on the screen for you. I think I have the pictures of all of them. But I don't know which are which anymore. And I didn't label because in my mind, wax beans was the label. Well, there it is, y'all. Not a lot, but the harvest is definitely coming. 3 different types of beans. Italian wide flack beans or Roma 2 beans. We have our yellow waxed beans, 5 different varieties. And then we have Landreth and Provider beans. So a basket of beans is what we have here and a couple pieces of broccoli. And we have all of these turnip greens, and that is a ton of turnip greens for us to enjoy. Here are the weights to everything that I harvested today. The weights will continue to come in and I'll separate everything out. We have enough food for us to enjoy as well as some of our family and friends. So if you like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, turning on notifications, giving me a thumbs up, and sharing with your friends and family. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out at Kim's Cozy Corner with me. Bye.